Like I was telling you, I went to go see this at the theater. I paid to go see this um, the other day, the other night. The movie itself I thought was decent. I didn't think it was great. I did enjoy the movie for what it was. I thought how they handled, a Black Widow solo film. It's kind of hard to talk about this because it's a movie that should have been released years ago, and we're just now getting it, and it's a bit strange because we already know, based off of what happens in Avengers Endgame, what happens to Black Widow. Obviously, she dies in that movie. One could argue that this movie is kind of pointless. It does have its own unique place within the MCU. I did enjoy the action. I think specifically like the car chase and whatnot. That was like the best part of the movie as far as the action goes. The banter between Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh, that was great. And I thought the movie was paced pretty well. It didn't wear out its welcome, and even though it's over 2 hours long, it felt shorter than that to me. It didn't feel like the movie was dragging or whatever. So the pacing was pretty good in it. The villain I thought was a bit wacky, because they kind of tried to go for like a James Bond type of style, but not like a Daniel Craig type of thing. More like one of the older Bonds or whatever. Um, yeah, that kind of threw me off a bit. But all in all, I thought the movie was fine. Um, I actually like what they did, with because I think Scarlett Johansson is done now in the MCU. This was her final movie, and they set up Florence Pugh to take over the mantle of Black Widow. That was handled proficiently, in my opinion. So yes, but what I really wanted to talk to you about was what actually happened when I went to go see this in the theater. Um,
Yeah, I'm curious.
there were a few disturbances uh, when I was sitting in the theater. So about 30 between 30 to 40 minutes into this movie, the fucking movie theater loses power. The screen just cuts the black, and there was quite a few people in the audience, obviously, because this is like a superhero blockbuster film. Everyone pays to go see these things, and so yeah, there was quite a big audience in there, and a sizable audience, and yeah, that when that screen turned to black, you could just hear the chatter. And then there was a kid in my row who just started like yelling, and he must have been like 14 or 15 or some shit. And so I was just sitting there. I started laughing when the screen cut the black, because it didn't like cut the black like it was like a transition. It cut the black as if like you turned off a television, and you see like you see like the fucking white lines or whatever, as if someone had a remote up top, and they just cut that shit off. And then we had two different employees go inside the theater and tell everyone like, hey guys, we apologize, we lost power, we're working to get it turned back on, just sit tight. And so it takes them 20 minutes to get this fucking movie back up and running. And then when they got it back up and everything was running again, they had skipped a few scenes. The movie had skipped a few scenes, and so two people had to leave the audience to tell the staff to rewind the movie back to where it was before they lost power. So I'm just sitting there like, I've gone to see probably close to 200 movies in my lifetime in the movie theater. I don't understand what is so difficult about getting a quality movie theater going experience. This is part of the reason why, is it really worth it going to the movie theater these days if you got to put up with shit like that? Um,
Right.
because this wasn't just released on in theaters. This movie was also released on Disney Plus, so you can watch it at home. It's not one of those things where, oh yeah, you gotta go to the theater. It's like those days are kind of coming to an end. So um, especially with the pandemic, like the industry's kind of it's permanently changed at this point. So you have other options. So yeah, that was something strange that happened. But then that wasn't even the crazy part. Um, I had sitting next.
It wasn't?
No, it wasn't. That was the least of what happened. I was sitting. I usually sit in the top row, and two seats down from me, there was sitting like a girl and another girl, and I guess it could have been her brother or her. It could have been a classmate or something. I don't know. But yeah, I had like a brunette girl like flirting with me or whatever. Or, like she kept looking at me and shit. I was kind of confused, like what? Because the girl looked like she was like 16, like 15 or 16 years old. I'm like, even if I was interested, it would be a severe mistake on my part to try and get involved with someone who's that age. Because
That's weird.
yeah,
Right.
you can be prosecuted for that. Uh, and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole. So yeah, that was strange. She was just one of those girls who was just like overly friendly and whatnot. When the screen cut to black and whatnot, like she was paying attention more to me than the actual blackout in the theater. And then like throughout the rest of the movie, she just kept like looking at me, and I'm trying to pay attention to the movie, and I'm like, okay, you're kind of, I don't want to say she's making me uncomfortable, but it's like you got your own group over there, like leave me alone. Like I'm over here
Right.
doing my own thing. And then
Right.
and then there was this in the row in front of me. This is the real, this is the kicker right here. You had a little boy who was like, I think he I think he was like maybe 9 or 10 years old. He might have been slightly younger, but his guardian got up and left the theater. He was like, "Hey, just wait here." So the guardian gets up, he leaves the theater, and this kid just starts losing his shit basically. He gets up out of his seat and starts pacing, and then he starts breathing heavy, like he's hyperventilating. And so he's like making a scene in the audience, and so everyone's turning their head towards this kid. I just sat there and I just stared at him. I was like, what the fuck is this kid on? What the fuck, what's going on? He starts like he starts crying and whatnot. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? This goes on for like
Right.
this goes on for like 5 minutes, and the kid finally gets up out of his seat and goes to leave the theater, and that's when the guardian comes back. Then they walk back up the stairs or whatever. They sit back down, and the kid's quiet for the rest of the movie. Doesn't make a fucking sound. I'm like, are you serious?
uh, that's real weird. I've never had a theater experience like that.
This is why, it's shit like that is the reason why I prefer not to go to see movies like this when they first come out, because everyone goes to see these things, and there's always something that goes on, like with fucking teenagers in the theater, or someone's fucking kid who doesn't know how to act appropriate, how to behave themselves in a fucking public environment. I never acted like that when I was a kid, like at all.
Uh,
Um, I don't know what was going on with that kid. I don't know if he was like slightly autistic, or if he had like if he was special needs. I don't think he was special needs at all. I'm not sure what was going on with him, but I just find it strange that as soon as the guardian leaves, the kid starts acting a fool. Literally, he's disturbing other people sitting in the audience, and everyone's like looking at him, but they can't say anything because the kid looks like he's like 9 or 10 years old. Yeah, he just guardian got up and left. He starts acting up or whatever, and he actually he caused me to miss a few lines of dialogue. I had to download this movie and rewatch like the end, like certain scenes towards the end to catch all the dialogue and whatnot, because he actually made me lose concentration. I was like, what the fuck? The fuck is going on? And then combine that with the girl who was sitting next to me who was underage, who kept like looking over to me and shit. And that's not the first time that's happened to me either, because back in 2012 when the Dark Knight Rises came out, I went to go see that with two friends, and there was this girl. It was a blonde chick, um, and I must have been like 18 or 19 at the time. And the girl started throwing popcorn at me, and she was doing it to get my attention. Like she would throw popcorn at me, and I would look over to her, and she would like be smiling, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you throwing popcorn at me?" And she did it twice, and then when I kept basically ignoring her, she finally like stopped. But this is the thing, that these are some of the things I've had to deal with sitting in a movie theater. I don't.
As well.
Yeah, I really don't understand it at all. How hard is it to go to a fucking movie, sit down, shut the fuck up, and watch what you're actually there for? I I,
Uh,
I don't. I just don't get it. But yeah, that was my Black Widow movie theater going experience. Yeah, I'm not sure if you've had any if you have any stories that are like that, going sitting down in a movie theater or not.
not on that level. I've only had a bad kid. One time I went to see a movie, just like kicking the back of my chair. I've never had arrested or any of that happen.
Now, see, if something like that was happening, I would be sure to turn around and be like, look, look, you need to calm your little ass down. If the parents were sitting right there,
Right.
like, look, you need to tell your kid like to chill out, kicking the back of my seat, like, oh, and like, hell no. That's how you cause a scene in the movie theater. That was my theater going experience. Again, the movie was good, but yeah, I kind of wish I had just stayed at home and watched it instead. So, because enough theater going experiences like that will make me just want to say fuck it and not even bother going to the theater. So yeah, that was Black Widow.